I don't know why you just turned off on me. That's so rude. When I picked it back up in the midst of everything happening outside of me, it was so affirming and such a reminder that the only guarantee that we have in this life besides death is this present moment, is what's here right now that you're experiencing. We saw how fast the fires traveled, and people want to play this narrative that it was a conspiracy and that it's planned and that it was an attack so that they can rebuild LA. And it's just the reality of life that I feel we've lost touch with as a collective, and it was the wake-up call that we needed to, like I said, make very major changes in the way that we approach life. As negative as that may sound, it's also the truth. I don't know what else to say. We've become so distracted by things that are not important. Hi. I had to start all over again because my camera turned off on me, and that's so mean and inconsiderate. Maybe I didn't press play again. I don't know. But anyways, I wanted to make this video before I edited and posted up the video that I chronologically recorded before this video, but I want to put this video out before I put out any other videos. So we are here to talk about, as you have read the title, as you have been most likely, more likely than not, following along in the news about what's going on here in dear old Southern California. But the LA fires, I wanted to discuss how I feel, not that my opinion or my feelings regarding the fires is important, but also I feel that it's also important for me to share, because I'm seeing a lot of my friends, other creatives around me struggling as well. And being someone who's a good 30 miles from the city, I am currently experiencing so much survivor's guilt. And I've experienced this when it came to Palestine. I've experienced this when it came to COVID, even though I wasn't necessarily unaffected by COVID, and I did eventually get COVID, a really, I don't want to say relaxed version of it because I was sick, but not as intense of an experience having COVID. But anyways, this isn't about that. This is about the fires. This is about what's happening in the world presently. But being born and raised in California, being born and raised in the outer edge of LA County and experiencing wildfires regularly enough that these aren't necessarily new things. I just want to like freshen up, so please don't mind me. Oh no. Oh, here. Being born and raised out here, wildfires aren't new. Wildfires are things that we've grown accustomed to, but and from what it seems, historically, we have not experienced wildfires like this ever. And it is such a call to realize how much climate change is changing and we're experiencing the negative consequences of consumerism, capitalism that has funneled the decline of the environmental crisis. Does that make sense? Is that logical? Is that a sentence? Back in 2020, I actually experienced my first time ever. Not that this is something I should be it's not that I'm celebrating it at all, but I experienced my first time evacuating because of wildfires. I'll include a picture. It was literally, I'm glad that I'm glad that my parents decided to not buy the houses that are on the hillside, but we did have the wildfires back in 2020 coming up from over the hill on the other side and about to enter our area. And thankfully our area wasn't burned down or anything. It was just the mountainside hillside that is right behind our houses. But I've never seen anything like what we've experienced, what we've witnessed in Palestine, in the Palisades and Eaton, the Eaton fire, Altadena. What is the proper pronunciation? I don't know. I don't want to be that person, but I'm also so terribly empathetic that, and I've come to the place where I'm really recognizing it in myself. Also, it's being affirmed to me because, especially as creative people, we are highly sensitive people. And so what? It's now the 18th. Last week, when the fires first started happening, the week before that, obviously it was the beginning of January, and I was starting off strong, and I ended 2024, entered 2025 with this like 2025 is gonna be my year. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna do this kind of stuff. I started making videos again. I was feeling that energy build inside of me. I told myself starting from January 5th, I was gonna restart the 75 hard challenge, and then the fires happened, and I became paralyzed with the survivor's guilt and doing what I could to support everybody that is directly and indirectly affected because of the wildfires. And it's not that I regret feeling this way and that resent feeling this way, but I in the midst of processing all of this because of what's happening outside of us, I also was just like, you were supposed to do this. Like, you were supposed to be doing the challenge and making content regularly and doing all this stuff. But I had to come to the realization that at the end of the day, everything happens with a purpose, right? We've said this here before, and we've had that conversation where all of it is serving our highest good in some way, shape, form, or another. And it's such a difficult thing to maneuver, because while we need to continue moving forward with our lives and taking one step forward, however slow and however gently we need to do that, we also can't return to business as usual. There is just a lot of shifting of like the timeline and of where our priorities are and how we need community now, especially now, because what was that sound? Oh, maybe it was my chair. I don't know. Especially now because of today is the 18th. So tomorrow is when the TikTok ban is supposed to happen. And then the day after that, who goes, where. And there's just a lot happening that is very, yeah, it is my chair. We need to come together as a collective to do the work to create the future that we want to live in. Now all I hear is the squeaking of my chair. Hold on, I need my script. Not that I'm reading this word for word, but I typed something up. Maybe I'll post this on Substack. I feel called to post on Substack, but I had typed the other night and just wanted to get everything out, cohesively, and then allowed myself to just speak freely while also touching on certain topics that I wrote down. But community, oh, where was this? Oh, yeah, I honestly would rather go through all of going back to not resenting and not regretting entering this state of dread and having survivor's guilt, because I honestly would rather feel that way than not have any emotions or feel empathetic towards towards what's going on in the world. It's very affirming to me that I have a sense of empathy and compassion to unfortunately feel a sense of dread when things are happening in the world around me. I would rather feel this way, no matter how negative it may feel. I would rather feel this way than feel nothing at all. So that's something. But okay, family. No. I also have been working towards pulling myself out of this sense of despair, because I also recognize what I have to offer to the community at this time. Thankfully, because I am not deeply, directly affected by the fires, I have an opportunity to be the light, be a part of the light, be a part of the community that helps uplift and rebuild what has been touched by this devastation, if not during a major historical event like these wildfires. And when, I stepped up, I really became awakened fully to this aspect of my purpose during the pandemic. Obviously, we weren't outside participating much, and learning how to find the balance between how much I can give myself without compromising what I need to do to fill my cup so that I can continue showing up for others and pouring from my overflow versus from my personal reserve, was something that I needed to learn over the last couple of years. And then at the end of 2023, when Palestine was going through their devastation on such a massive grand scale that the entire world was watching and not able to physically do something about it, it was even more heightened, this sense of what I need to and what my purpose is calling me to do. And now, 2025, as I've come into this sense of confidence within myself of my creative work and not wanting to settle for a life because I'm scared of going all in on what I know I'm being called to do with my life, the fires happen. It felt, for me at least, this wake-up call that I needed to, and it may be too soon to use this terminology, but to light the fire under my ass to get up and do what it is that I need to do in order to live fully in my purpose. And with the TikTok ban and everyone trying to figure out where we're gonna go, I've always, at the end of the day, came back to YouTube. And this isn't to say that what is the word I'm looking for? That I'm unaffected by the TikTok ban. I just personally stopped using TikTok because I wanted to work on my attention span, and consuming longer form content was where I felt less stressed. Because just, the emotional roller coaster of scrolling through God knows what you're gonna see in a matter of minutes, a matter of seconds, I needed to regulate my nervous system. So I personally was just not using TikTok anymore. But I do see how much of a benefit TikTok has had on the community, and how it has created a sense of independence and autonomy within, especially the United States, and sharing knowledge to the collective and to our communities at a faster rate than ever before. I see the negative side of wanting to isolate us more and to make us more reliant on these systems that are just essentially stealing from us and wanting to perpetuate modern day slavery, essentially, is what it is. They want to be able to control us and to make us ignorant to all the things that are happening behind all the smoke and mirrors that has been built around us. So with the fires, I'm seeing the collective consciousness really shifting, and it's fascinating to see. And yes, the devastation is so real, and that is basically Mother Nature, the earth, the universe, God, shaking us, rattling us so much to really wake us up to the systems that we partake in, that we just accept as life, as normal. But these things aren't normal, and these ways of living aren't sustainable in the long term. And scientists have been talking about this for ages. Spiritualists have also been on the same page for quite a while now. Unfortunately, empires need to fall every 250 years, and the United States is at, I believe it's 248. So we are at this time where shit is gonna shake. Shit needs to fall apart so that we can rebuild and create systems that are actually beneficial to the community at large. We see so many places that are promoted as third world countries, and especially with the TikTok ban, people going to Red Note. And I personally didn't go on Red Note. I just didn't need to. But seeing the discourse happening about going there, and people being awakened to how well off other countries are versus the US. And luckily for me, I've already had this knowledge. I've already been aware of it, and my biological dad has talked about this for years. And as I grew up, I began to understand that this guy wasn't talking all crazy and being a man in the Philippines that doesn't know what's going on in the US. Like, he knows exactly what's going on because he doesn't live in the US. So, that's been something that sits at the forefront of my brain. I've also lived enough life not living and being exactly who it is that I want to be, doing exactly what it is I want to do. So I don't want to allow myself to sit in this sense of dread and despair when I at least have the capability to pull myself out of it and be a part of the movement that helps people rebuild, whether it's in the physical sense, whether it's in the emotional, spiritual, mental sense, and helping us move forward in some way, shape, or form. And whether it's making music that helps heal people, whether it's continuing to share and repost information to my community platforms, I just know that there's a purpose for me not being able to move out when I wanted to. I had been in this place for such a long time, since I moved back here right before the pandemic happened, and I was trying to force myself to move out from here into the city, because I live maybe 30 to 40 minutes away, and I don't mind driving out there. And as the years have gone on, I began to make peace, because I find so much healing by walking Finn twice a day. And so a big part of me wants to maintain that closeness with him, because not only does it help him thrive, but it helps me thrive. Also being here to support my family, and I want to be able to build my own from the ground up, and then be able to give back to my family, because I've just felt so much guilt in not being able to do that. And I'm entering another birthday, and I'm just like, okay, I need to get shit moving. And my mom and I actually had a conversation about this yesterday. It was very affirming, because I was already having these thoughts, and being able to maneuver that conversation, regardless of how brief it was, really affirmed me, because there was so much clarity and so much calm within me during this conversation that historically it would have triggered me so much, and I would have felt so attacked. The fact that I didn't feel that way affirmed me in the fact that I'm doing exactly what it is I need to be doing, that I don't need to prove myself to anyone else but myself. I just need to continue showing up, and the more I show up, the more I will be open and ready to receive what it is that I've been working towards. So it's all serving a purpose, and I've lived in enough fear of the what if that prevented me from having what it is that I want in this life, that now my new fear is not taking the action towards what it is that I want, which is so great. And I want to help other people get to that place in life and to encourage other people. The fires, as devastating as they are, is also a wake-up call. I mentioned that before. It's a wake-up call that we never know what lies ahead tomorrow. I'm currently reading The Power of Now. I think I mentioned this before. I'm reading The Power of Now, and it's taken me a while to make my way through this book, but when I picked it back up in the midst of everything happening outside of me, it was so affirming and such a reminder that the only guarantee that we have in this life besides death is this present moment, is what's here right now that you're experiencing. As much as we can prepare for our future and want to set aside funds and want to save ourselves for this or save that outfit for this event that you may go to one day, we're recognizing more and more that we have no guarantee of what's going to happen tomorrow, in the next week, in the next month, in the next year, or 5 seconds, 5 minutes from now. We saw how fast the fires traveled, and people want to play this narrative that it was a conspiracy and that it's planned and that it was an attack so that they can rebuild LA. And it's just the reality of life that I feel we've lost touch with as a collective, and it was the wake-up call that we needed to, like I said, make very major changes in the way that we approach life. As negative as that may sound, it's also the truth. I don't know what else to say. We've become so distracted by things that are not important. Yes, the government wanting to take away an app that has helped so many people, so many Americans thrive and rebuild their lives. It's also a social media app. We've seen so many apps come and go. MySpace, Vine, what is it? Other ones that I can't remember at the top of my head. So many have come and gone. There will always be another platform. It's not the platform in itself. I understand that it's not just losing our 6-second dances and TikTok challenges. It's the principle of it. I understand that. We've also become so consumed in celebrity lives and things that are just keeping us distracted and keeping us entertained versus understanding what's really happening in the world and to us as people. We need to wake up. And there are a lot of things in play right now that are contributing to that. But the question is, are we gonna actually hear, process, absorb, understand what it is that we're being called to do? Or are we gonna ride hard for a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, and then return to business as normal? I think we are way past that as a collective. People have seen LA as the city of movies and the backdrop of so many different stories that they see, fictional stories that they see, that they've created this fictional reputation of what LA is. But I feel like they didn't understand it when it was happening to Gaza. So now that it's happening to somewhere that they personally relate to, things are gonna change. I genuinely feel. It'll take a while. It's so easy to want to hope that the change is gonna happen overnight, but at least the change is happening. And I implore you to question it, to question where you are in life, to ask yourself, am I fully living out a life that I want to live if I get the opportunity to continue living? I implore you to do exactly what it is that keeps you up late at night, questioning, what if I did it? What if I went all in? What if I allowed myself to have exactly what it is that I want in this life? Because if, God forbid, you did not wake up tomorrow and you had to sit there and watch a replay of your life, would you be satisfied at where it ended? Regardless of if you were in the midst of making something happen, would you be satisfied that you were taking the steps towards what it was that you were working towards? Or would you regret that you left a lot of things in this untangible what if limbo situation? For me, with the fires, and if just Nothing is coincidence. Everything is in perfect alignment was the wake-up call I needed. I'm sure so many people are feeling the same way. A lot of people are still deep in the grief process, and it's not a matter of me wanting to encourage or force people to move through their grief faster by any means, but something to consider, something that will help possibly move through this very, very heavy time that we're experiencing right now. So everything happens for a reason. We say this over and over again, and it doesn't. Oh, I like this. I was cut off. How rude. Okay, what did I say? Oh, I said, you don't have to have 1 million followers or be a celebrity in order to make an impact. You were brought into this life for a reason. You're drawn to that lifestyle, place, career, passion for a reason. It will take time and a lot of patience, but soon enough you'll look back and see how far you've come, how much you've grown, and the only way out is through. The only way to get to where you want to go is to take that first step, and then another, and then another. And if you've been personally affected by these wildfires, I keep you in my heart. If you're indirectly affected, but still carrying so much grief, survivor's guilt, carrying the heaviness of the energy on your back as if it were your own, I hold you so close to my heart. I understand the feeling. I understand how difficult it may seem to continue moving forward in life, but a part of the dark energies that want to keep us from creating a better, lighter, more fulfilling life wants to keep you down when you've been beaten. Resilience is being able to pick yourself up no matter how devastating of a blow we may receive. Being able to take the time that we need to process what it is we need to process, but little by little figuring out, okay, how can I learn from this? How can I create a more balanced life? How can I take this energy and transmute it to serve versus be greedy and want to just consume for myself? I just remembered I need to pick up grapefruits. Oh my gosh. But if there's one thing I know about the people in this area, especially LA, is that we're the makers, we're the doers, we're the go-getters. A lot of people came here to chase their dreams and put in that work in order to make that happen. So I have no doubts that we're going to be able to rebuild, but we're just learning that there are more sustainable ways to do that. The systems and the narratives that we've accepted for so long maybe aren't really the best ways to navigate. And like I said, it's going to take time. It's not just an easy, like, boop, we're here, but the only way to get there is to begin. I think this is a good place to stop. I've bounced around a lot throughout this. I just want to say I get it. I get it. I've literally, you see this floor right here? I've slept on the floor for majority of the days in the last 2 weeks. Just so depleted of energy that I just did not want to physically pick myself up and put myself on my bed, which is just like not even a step away from the floor. Doom scrolling, I get it, but if we perpetuate this negative feeling, we'll never get out of it. It'll only continue to come back and increase and get heavier. I'm not saying to forget about it and to return to our regular, schmegular lives, but we're rooted in community. We hold each other up and we hold each other accountable. So call me your accountability buddy. Come back to this channel, to my platforms on wherever it is I'm going to be, and know that I'm also putting in that work, that I'm feeling the weight that you're feeling, and that I'm here to help you. As your neighborhood Aquarius, I have the vessel, the depiction of the Aquarius holding the water vessel, I think is the terminology. And then we just fill it up and then I pour it out and then it's empty. So I can fill it up again and then pour it out. So okay. Remembering that I needed to pick up grapefruit really snapped me out of this, but I hope that this has helped you in some way, shape, or form. I hope that you feel seen and heard and held in some way. Even though I cannot physically hold you right now, know that I am embracing you with my love. Be kind to yourself. Especially now more than ever, you have no idea what the next person is going through and experiencing and carrying. Please be kind. Live. Simply live to the fullest degree, because we have no idea what tomorrow will bring, what the next moments will bring. Life is so precious. If you didn't realize that before, I hope you realize it now. How precious, not just life itself, but your life. Do everything possible to feel so satisfied in the life you live. Okay? I love you. I will see you soon, very soon. I will be here. Yeah. I really hope I talked about everything I needed to talk about on here, because I was just kind of woo. But I will post on Substack or some platform what I had typed up, because I didn't want to feel like I was reading a script and not speaking authentically from my heart. Just wanted this to be a little chit chat. I like how I said I was going to get ready, and then I just completely abandoned that concept. But yeah, it wasn't needed. Getting ready wasn't needed. So, okay. I'll talk to you guys very soon. I love you. I love you. Ta-ta.